Chris, you good on, starting at 8:30?
Think so. Let me just make sure we've got the stream going. Sir, we're good.
Call our meeting order for the Budget Finance Committee. Today's meeting, we're going to be talking about departmental budget review. First of all, I want to thank all the department heads for coming out this morning and spending some time with us and sharing with us what's going on in your particular world. Really appreciate what you all do for us. You guys are awesome. You all make us look good. A guy with this kind of face, that's a hard thing to do. Again, thank you all very much. And I know Elliot has an order in mind just because I know some folks have some meetings to go to. So we will jump in right now.
Yeah, thank you, John. And it's great. We love this process. It's been 3 or 4 years since we've been doing this. It's great for our department to get in front of you guys and talk through priorities for their department. So quick review of the timeline, and we'll kick over to the town to talk about engineering, then our public safety team, public works, and on from there. But this is really the second meeting where we dive into the budget, right? So last week, of course, remember Mike Reuter for an hour and a half or so. Deep dive on the high level of the fiscal plan. Today is again departmental review. We've got another finance committee meeting September 10th before we actually present the budget formally to city council. So we'll take feedback today. We'll continue to refine departmental budgets, the bigger budget as well. Make sure we have a product in front of you guys that is the right thing for our community going forward. So with that, most departments are just one slide per. The 10 is super special, so he has a handful. And his is really focused on the capital side of things. Obviously, from a financial impact, that's the most important one. Everyone else after that is really more operational in nature. But with that, we'll kick it over to Hatem to talk about infrastructure investments.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present the 3 slides that I have. Engineering was tasked with completing a lot of the backlog of projects that we've had throughout the years. So continuing on that line, we have a bunch of projects that you can see that are going on right now, similar to the picture that we have right there. This is this week's picture of 37 and 141st Street. We're shooting for this one to be done hopefully by the end of this year. If not, it would be spring of next year. One of our biggest projects here in the city. The whole corridor will be done with the final stage, which is 141st Street. So hopefully that will be one of the biggest prides of our city with managing this whole entire project. One other project that we're also finalizing this year is the Nickel Plate Trail Bridge over 96th Street. One other big monumental gateway project for us. And that takes us to next year. We have a couple of projects that are ongoing this year that you will see lead on to next year, which is one of them is the 136th Street corridor. You can see right now what we're building is from Prairie Baptist all the way to Cynthia Ann. That is slated for November of this year. Next year is the second half of that project, which is 136th Street between Southeastern and Prairie Baptist. That is just including a median, widening the lanes a little bit, putting trails on both sides with also 2 trail bridges along 136th Street. New projects that you can see coming online for next year, you will see 131st Street and Brook School Road. That was part of our corridor study on Brook School Road. This corridor study is still ongoing, but one of the main projects that we identified with all of the new developments that are happening between Olio and Brook School Road. This was one of the main projects that we wanted to do quickly. So we're already starting on design right now, and it should be hopefully without any problems coming up from utilities or right away that this should start construction by next year. Also, Olio and Southeastern roundabout, that's the 5-prong roundabout up there by exit, right there by, what is it, exit 10? Exit 10? Yeah, at Saxony. This was an issue that we had ongoing for quite some time. We're eliminating one of those approaches, so it will be a conventional 4-lane roundabout with a teardrop at 136th Street, and also a signal on Olio Road just north of 136th Street, north of the roundabout. So that would hopefully clean up that area, make it easier for people to navigate. It will be a 2-lane roundabout. If you're coming north on Olio, it'll have 3 lanes on that approach, 1 dedicated to 69 exit, with the other 2 going north and also going east to 136th Street. One other project also coming online next year is 96 and Cynthia Ann roundabout. That's all the way on the southeast corner of the city. That is an area that's seeing a lot of projections, a lot of developments happening. We've had a lot of issues on that intersection. It was a county intersection before it was given to the city. It was two-way stop sign. We then introduced a 4-way stop sign. And now we're going to mitigate all of that with a 96 and Cynthia Ann roundabout. Road widening, where again, 136th Street, that is one of the projects that we're going to finalize by next year. 116th and Allisonville intersection improvement, that is going on next year as well. And then we are also looking at USA Parkway widening. Currently, due to all of the development, IKEA with the event center also going in there, we've seen increase in traffic. We've seen a lot of congestion on USA Parkway from 106th Street all the way up to Navient. So looking at what can be a permanent fix to all of these issues is making USA Parkway a 2-lane roadway all the way up to IKEA intersection. And also upgrading the IKEA intersection with new signal infrastructure. That would help us a lot. We're going towards that way of technology with all of our intersections. We can remotely work with that intersection without having to be physically in that cabinet. Resurfacing packages, we'll have 2 resurfacing packages like we did at all times. Unfortunately, CCMG is a community crossing matching grant. We are used to having it every year. 2 years ago, they increased the matching to 1.5 million. So that increased our first resurfacing packages. It pretty much doubles it. Unfortunately, as of this year and moving on forward, it will be reduced to $1 million. In addition to some equation that they're working out with the lane miles for all the localities. So hopefully we get some more money, but for right now, we're budgeting ourselves for $1 million match. So hopefully we can get approximately 2 good-sized resurfacing packages for next year. Trails and greenways, we're trying to identify different trailways. I'm trying to work with the communities to find east-west, north-south opportunities for us to build more trails, more experiences similar to the Nickel Plate Trail. We're currently looking at a big east-west trail plan. We're still in the study phase. We don't have anything identified yet. So hopefully that will be an experience trail that takes us from east of the city all the way to the west side. And hopefully that connects all of the big points of interest in the city of Fishers, like the event center, downtown, community center, all the way down to Ambassador Park. So
Is that the Marathon pipeline?
that's one way of.
Where is that?
That takes us from the northeast on 136th Street, right by Perry Baptist, all the way to the bridge over White River.
Actually cuts
Oh, wow.
right through the community center proper. Right on today. So there's some hope that it might.
Some hope.
I just wasn't familiar with it.
It's a hope of ours. It's not finalized. It's not anything concrete. It's a study that we're trying to see if. Yeah, and hopefully we can get good traction there and work with the utilities and get things done. But that's kind of one of the studies that we're hoping for next year. Just one of many that we have. And obviously our infrastructure investments, the big push for us for a couple of years now, one of the mayor's pushes is to invest in our neighborhood roadways. As you can see here, the numbers have continuously gone up from 2012 all the way to 2025. Thankfully, the last 2 years, we were able to sneak in by 3 resurfacing contracts. Unfortunately, last year we had to do 1 because we were building 96th Street in Allisonville. but hopefully by next year, you see that jump. So we're consistently targeting between 20 and 25 miles a year. Unfortunately, that one blip in 2024 was just one resurfacing package. But moving with that trend forward, we'll target more of 20 to 25 miles each year in neighborhood resurfacing, roundabout resurfacing, and also all of our main roadways. One of the examples that we did this year was the 106 and Lantern roundabout. We did Cumberland Road from 126 to the bridge, and also 106th Street, just east of Cumberland, all the way to I want to say Fall Road. So big investments in our cities and the resurfacing contracts, and that will continue for next year as well. This is just a schematic of what we did from 2020 to 2023. Obviously, those are 3 years, 74 miles, but in 2 years we did 40.5 miles. Hopefully by next year we'll do between 2025 and 2026, we'll hopefully do about 50 miles as well. So it's always growing, and we're hoping to work with DPW in the future to identify trails as well, in order for us to get that on the resurfacing packages. But we have to see first about identifying which ones that needs a little love and attention. We know that there's a bunch of locations that do need some resurfacing, but hopefully between my team and Valenta's team, we can identify those and move forward like we did with the Hazer rating and the resurfacing.
Any questions for Tom?
We'll kind of, maybe, especially with those that are online, maybe we can just kind of let them.
Yeah.
Start with Cecilia. Do you have any questions for Meki?
I do. Hi, good morning. The Brook School study, when do you think that'll be finished? And then, of course, we've been in communication with the Anchorage about some kind of walk path or crosswalk. Any chance we can get this done and finalized for next year?
Yeah, I'm sitting with our traffic consultant tomorrow to go over the details that they've finished so far. I'm hoping by the end of this year, we'll have that study done with every intersection identified for treatments, widening, or in the case of Anchorage, we're taking that study from north from the Noblesville limits all the way down to Fall Creek roundabout. So that includes the Anchorage intersection and includes the roundabout also at Fall Creek and Brook School. So hopefully we can have that identified. So next year we can work on putting those in our budgets.
So it's not, just for clarification, is it in the budget to be able to be done next year, or we'd have to wait another year?
I'll be completely honest with you. The projects that we have currently for this year and what's funded is the study. And hopefully, once we identify the study, we have to go into design. So we have to get a designer on board and get that study done and get the design done first and have plans. And then after those plans are done, we have to phase out the corridor. So we can't normally do the whole thing all at once. So it would be phased, and hopefully we can include some of that next year.
Okay, I'd appreciate if we could just kind of make this, I know everybody's, wanting stuff done, but they've been asking for a number of years now, so I'd like to see where we could have some kind of timeline for them and some realistic goals. I'd appreciate that, because they keep asking, and, so that would be great. Just anything you can provide to kind of know that we're moving forward and that there is a final timeline for this.
Yeah, we did actually have two solutions for the Anchorage crossings there. Unfortunately, I know last year we had a good trail gap budget that the mayor had provided to us. In case that does come back again for next year, hopefully, if you guys want to give us more money for next year, we can definitely include that, and at least put a trail that goes south and get a safe crossing there for Anchorage.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, do you have any questions for us? I think you do.
Yes, I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. Tim, thank you, and I appreciate the increased emphasis on neighborhood paving. There isn't enough money in the world to take care of all the needs, but I appreciate the upward trajectory that in this budget to keep paving our neighborhoods. The only question I have is I'm a little confused on what's going on and when on 116th and Allisonville interchange. We put that, the mayor had put that on the back burner for this year. So are we back on the burner next year, and is the solution still a roundabout?
Yeah, we're back on the burner. We're gonna let this project here at the end of this year with construction in spring of next year. So it's still on, it's still a go.
Next year being 2026,
Yes.
and will it take one construction season or more?
No, it will take one construction season. Should be done.
Okay, thank you.
Just a couple of quick thanks, Tim. And this, if I'm in the wrong zone, let me know, but the sidewalks fit into this at all? And is that even material enough to hit the budget?
We had some sidewalks that we worked with DPW last year. We had a good, healthy budget that DPW went out and identified a bunch of neighborhoods and a bunch of sidewalks that we were able to
We will
include.
cover that with.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're good. You're good. Yeah, I'll be covering that.
It's easier for.
Yeah. We worked really well with DPW. They identified, we put the contract together, bid it out, inspected it, and everything was done, in concert with the DPW folks.
All right. And then just a quick, I think the Nickel Place Trail is amazing and very excited. I think most people don't realize, and I never did, that the northern entity covered the south. But so do you know, of our friends in Noblesville, do you know what they're doing on 146 by chance?
They're actually, they applied for the Next Level Trail grants. They unfortunately didn't get construction dollars. They are currently doing their design. We've been talking to them about how we approached our 96th Street Bridge so they can identify that as well there. So there is a bridge going on there, and there's also a bridge going on 82nd Street all the way down. So Indianapolis did their part. That whole area on 69 and 465, that's going to be done once the interchange is done. So they're going to build that connection there. And once those, our bridge and 86th Street Bridge is done, you'll have a connection all the way down to the State Fair.
That's amazing. No, and thank you. I mean, we've really led the way on that. I know some just in our neighbors.
And I think Noblesville also are done with their section. They have a significant portion of
Okay.
Nickel Plate Trail all the way north. So once we currently have crossings on 146th Street. You just have to go to Harriman.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of similar to the 86th Street one in Nora, but they're also building a bridge there. So
But for an old fat guy on a bike, that's a problem.
you can take 37.
I have a friend.
Thank you. Just your questions again. Thank you. One kind of high level question. What's it cost per mile to resurface a road? Any idea what it costs per mile?
Knowing that our 2025 budget was about 5.8 and we did 24 miles. So I don't know what the math comes up in, but I know a full lane mile of reconstruction is $1 million, but that's not.
Resurfacing.
Yeah, resurfacing is a little different. I don't know the breakdown exactly, but
I'm sure it depends on what you're resurfacing as well.
through.
The
We
depth
did,
you have to go and
last year we did a portion that was concrete and it almost took $1 million just to reconstruct that concrete section. But it differs if you do a roadway with MOT and a lot of that comes into play with the cost. It's easier to do, it's not easier, but a little bit cheaper to do neighborhoods than arterials.
one question again wasn't brought up today, but just something I know that's on our radar is Cumberland Road from 106 to 116th Street. We're still waiting on utilities.
Yes, we're actually slated on bidding that project the end of next year. Utilities are slowly but surely moving forward. We do have that as construction in 2027, so that budget will come in in 2027, but talking to NDOT, talking to the MPO, we're gonna bid it early and or late, if you will, in 2026, but construction would be in 2027 with 2027 dollars. But that's still going forward.
Those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Next up, we got Chief Kai Ragsdale.
Good time, everyone. I am one of those people that has to leave out for a meeting after this. We're promoting from within, so we got 30 interviews over the next couple of days. So it's white shirt all week for me today. Obviously, this is overly important that I'm here, and as many of you know, or most know, that this is my first budget cycle that I've ever been through. So with the help of Lisa, Chief Gebhardt, I'm definitely beginning to understand a little bit better about what this is. Our department certainly took a deep dive down into where we could save, costs associated with different types of things. I think ultimately, the initial shot, we came in a few dollars under what was for last year or what was approved. So that was a win right off the bat. But what was also important is working with some of the city leaders, how important it is for us. And by no means would I call this the rebuilding year of the fire department, but with any transition in leadership, there obviously we have to take a good look, a good evaluation of what it is that we're trying to do. So I would say conservative by nature, but the 200, 300 level money basically kind of evened itself out. The costs associated with an increase in gear and physicals and things like that, we were able to reduce that by cutting some other costs. And then, so as you see, we're, I think 1.32 under. When you get into the 12% increase, what I think is important to note here is with working with the city, our training division is something that really, over the last couple of years, has it's fallen apart a little bit just with transitions in leadership and people moving. It was very important that we have an influx of people that get in there, new people come in, reevaluate what that program is. So we wanted to introduce some money into that. So roughly $80,000 to $100,000 increase in that world puts us at 12%. And the reason I bring that up, just to note the picture on the right, the person in the t-shirt there, Todd Thornton, he's our new training captain. The guy in the FFV shirt behind him is Hugo Wands, our deputy chief. Those are two people that 6 months ago were out in front of people, training, instructing, doing that kind of thing, developing people. Well, now both of them are in the office and they are part of the command staff of people that is trying to do that overall with the entire department. So when I look to the left to the areas of focus, establishing a comprehensive command structure is one note for me. With a new change in leadership, we definitely have new people. We also have to develop a wealth of people up in the middle management type stuff or levels. So we brought this group of people in. We did that. One of the big introductions of why we need the training money is, for those of you who don't know, and I think it's like this probably in every industry, but fire service in general, we're having a lot of difficulty recruiting, retaining, and hiring practices that we have. When I started, 20 some years ago, I think we had 530 people for 13 jobs. Now we're upwards of 200 people applying. Not as many people are interested in the fire service anymore, or at least how we presented it. So it's important to take this additional money that we've been asked to receive and make sure that we're putting into the world of recruitment and hiring, getting good people. I mean, we're now upwards of nationwide searches to try to get people. The other important thing to spend money on, in my opinion, is the development of the new officers in our world. We have people that are in leadership roles now that have had 3 years on. We've had people that have never been in middle management or executive level management type roles. So I think for us to spend time on officer development, leadership things, and that includes bringing people in from the outside. We've been in the walls of the firehouse for 20 years, but to have a good fresh look from the outside agencies coming in, different people to help us kind of decide, different ways that we can lead, and then different ways to hire is important for us. And then on the third bullet there, aligning with the department growth and community. As we know, this community continues to grow and develop. Specifically, when you look at places like where the arena, that development is, it's in our 94th district, across through 96 in Allisonville, in the world of the F1 right there. We have to be able to keep up with this kind of growth. I mean, we're looking at 7,000 arena, more stuff coming in. If we get upwards of 12,000 additional people here at night, we have to be able to have the resources available to combat some of those issues. And it is something that we're working with the city. Jordan Alexander now already at the city level to try to define specifically what those needs are. But we're looking internally as well to make sure that we get growth there. To do all that stuff, in the future, we definitely need to make sure that we are strengthening this community engagement and partnerships. We're a group of 159 people over there. Everybody in the city, all the other department heads have been overly kind to helping us understand what it is we need to do, assist us where they need to. But I think there's a wealth of different people out there in the business world and the community that we can also engage with to become a little better. One quick example we talked about, and through even the use of the community center, is if you can post a QR code on a front door of a gym or a community center and try to help recruit people, then that is of benefit to us. Obviously, we have more than an obligation to make sure that we're defining the true needs of this community and making sure that we're spending our money and our time and energy towards that. And then to do that, we have to be able to train and grow our own people. And then to do that, additional training facilities, there's going to be a great one, a fantastic one coming up at 160th and River Road on a county state level. But ultimately, I would like to look for additional support as it lives into the city here. And then there's so much in the world of modernizing equipment. An example I can give you is there's a sonar that reads as we get an influx of people into the White River area and 96 in Allisonville. We have, our boats are burning up props left and right every time we get in that water. They have different boats, they have different sonars that we can get. We've got where they filled in out of Guy's Reservoir, all the quarry out there, that's upwards of 200 feet. We don't have the ability or capability to dive at that depth. They have equipment that you can purchase for, $30,000, $40,000 that can drop down, 500 feet total, grab a person off the ground and do it. So point being, modern equipment, I think, is out there to meet our challenges. We need to invest time and energy to do that. But I would just cap this off with the additional 100,000 that works in our training world will change the game about how we do stuff, because we have the people ready and available, but we just need to make sure that we get them educated the right way and know how to attack and what we need to attack out in the community. So that's it. Steve, why the dirty look?
All right. I'll just kind of go down the list again. Cecilia, you have any questions for Chief?
Yeah, Chief. Okay, so there's no plan to hire anybody for 2026 then? It's more of training, and so no hiring of additional.
I think like every department, the more people is always better. And really the focus and the emphasis in our 200 and 300 level work, a lot of work has been done focusing primarily on the training. I mean, if there's a reach out to people, I think if we could get from 159 to 162, that could change the game for us. But I think a lot of that will depend really at the city level, what everybody needs to do. So always asking and looking for people for sure. 3 could possibly make a difference in our world, but I really think our emphasis more so than anything is taking those existing people that we have and making sure that we educate them appropriately and have them have a good understanding of what their leadership development looks like.
Right. Another question then, what about like volunteer firefighters? I don't know if we have a kind of program like that could help to, for additional support. Communities used to have those back in the day, I don't know. I'm just asking the question on that.
No, and I appreciate the idea. And I can tell you at this point, because of, I think at moments there's a bit of devastation on as we, people retire. This was, as Fishers has grown, we now have people that have been there 20, 25 years and are retiring, and they're doing that. They'll put a 2 weeks notice in. So there's not a lot of forecasting in advance. We're upwards of 6 to 8 months by the time we can fill a vacancy on a seat, get somebody trained up, get them to do that. So to your point, we have to take a serious look at different options that we have to be able to kind of put butts in the seats, because 8 months is too long of a time frame to have any kind of a turnover at that point. And we've looked at different programs, working through the Ivy Techs, the Vincennes of the world that have 2-year programs. Can we bring people like that in early get them educated, get the transition and move them right into the spot. So instead of having a blast of a 26-week class, can we have somebody with some type of experience to come in and start that work? The volunteer is something that we haven't specifically looked at. They've had it in the past, but I think as a professional fire department right now and a wealth of, the 159 people that we do have, that would be a little bit of a tricky game, but I do think there's options in that world that would help us for sure.
Sure. And then just one last question. I mean, as you're trying to recruit, think about maybe, the youth, the high schoolers. I think a lot of people don't understand at this point the qualifications of a firefighter and kind of more of the emergency management part of it and medical part side of it. I don't know if you guys actively go into, our high schools or just to, spark interest and, share kind of like what it takes to enter in this profession and get the youth, kind of thinking about, how can I maybe do this in my community and what would it take?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And our real hope is, that $100,000 is specific to training, specific to recruitment, because we've already had a couple people have gone into paramedic graduation classes and meet with them. We have every intention of kind of scouring the state and the Midwest, speaking with, athletic directors at colleges, meeting with men's and women's sports teams, coaches like that to draw, because to your point, I don't think people have a real picture sometimes of what the fire service is. And we're upwards of 83%, EMS type runs. If we're just out recruiting people that don't, or if we're recruiting people that don't have an interest in that, they're going to be surprised. And then all of a sudden we have an odd turnover 2-3 years later. So we want to capture a real picture for people of what it is that we're actually doing and hope that there's a connection there where they can understand it and then they can come on board. But yeah, we are actively recruiting at this point, but to really get a full comprehensive look at what all is entailed in that and how we hire these people. So we had a person that was there for 4 weeks and then decided they were claustrophobic and left. I mean, there's got to be something in the vetting process along the way where we can recognize those kind of things. And again, I think systems of the old are not necessarily always, where we need to be as we look to the future. So we're looking at new things for sure.
Well, thanks, Chief. Appreciate the responses. Thanks.
Bill, do you have any questions for Chief?
No, I don't. I appreciate it. I just want to say you're doing a great job, Chief, and I appreciate all that you and your team do for the city of Fishers.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, but I mean, you feel like you have enough people.
Yeah, I think the circumstance we're at right now, again, everybody always wants additional people as it sits, but with 159 pretty exceptional people out there, I think my biggest concern with that group is that they're moving up in the organization, moving out of the department. And just because they're good at this right here doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be good at that. So that heavy development sits in there. And I know there's always talk of more people. I know we're looking at millions of dollars if they add everything we want. But I absolutely agree at this moment right now that we can function, we can take care of the safety of this city.
No, thanks. And I think the bill did a great job.
Thank you.
Budget, I know you just, do you have any questions for Chief or? Okay. I have no questions. Thank you very much. And welcome. Glad you made it through your first budget.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I got work to do on my 10-minute presentation, right? But I do appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Also, when you're all done, if you want to leave, okay? Probably goes about the same day.
The one and only Chief Gephardt. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here to present what we got going on in the police department. First of all, I just want to note our increases in particular were based upon elevating costs of doing business. So our body cameras with Axon, L3 in-car, so forth is increasing by the 5-year contract set aside. So that's an increase that's going to be cutting into that 10% number on the other side there as well. The increase in mental health for our officers as we gauge their mental health and therapy and the sessions they need. We did a slight increase to cover down on 2026 on their mental health. If they're healthy, then we can be healthy when we respond to the community. Then our increase in Humane Society fees as this continues to be monitored. And I think we're going to do some stuff here to try to come and strike a partnership and try to level off with Humane Society a little bit, but they continue to increase their budget. So that in fact impacts our budget and their increases in there as well. These supplies you're going to see there is price of doing business, such as ammo and other supplies that have gone up just because of the things going on around us in the world today. So those are increases that only went into the budget into next year, 2026. Look, for us, a small snippet of what's on our mind moving in is striving for excellence in policing. And what I mean by that is the different things we're doing within the department that are technology-based that allow us to come in and be a more impactful agency. So I want to break this down in a few steps. You know, archaic policing is something happens to your house, something gets robbed from you. We come to the scene, we take a report, you get the case number, we do the job. That's old policing, that's archaic. We don't believe in that. We move more into the optimal policing, which is something happens to your house. We can start to leverage technology that the council and the mayor will support us on that help us to be better at fighting crime. And one of those is our intelligence unit. And the civilians we're hiring within intelligence allow us to be communicative with agencies across the United States, which allow us to track and train crimes moving into our city, which allow us to place our manpower in reasonable places at the right time. There was lots of years where you would come in and there'd be 13 car break-ins or 13 house break-ins because they'd come in a crime wave, hit and leave. With intelligence-led policing, we're allowed to get ahead of that. We kind of know when they're moving our way through our intelligence bureau. They help us to place officers in the right location so we can be optimal, either stopping or being on top of that crime. And then we want to move into excellent policing. And then there are some examples of this. This is when the most heinous of crimes happen within our city. It could be robbery, it could be carjacking, it could be a shooting. And we've had these things. We can leverage technology such as the LPR there seen on the lower right-hand corner, the technology in the cars, the technology the officers have to utilize to track aggressive crime trends, i.e. one example is armed robbery on 96th Street. LPR flock cameras allow us to track that person down within 40 minutes and make an arrest. Another situation, detectives were working thefts out of houses. Those people went all the way as far as Florida. We were able to retrieve them, the stuff, and bring arrests back to the community. We think that when you look at archaic policing, people are going to want to move from your city if that's how you handle business. When you move into optimal, they start to feel better, and maybe they'll stay, 50-50 chance. But if you can get into the excellence category, which is catch that and then leverage our computer forensics, our DNA, and our crime scene forensics team to bring resolve to the shooting that we just had within 24 hours, within 48 hours, we believe that this is where we want to be in excellent policing. It's leveraging technology, doing the things we do with the officers. And remember, technology requires an on button to be pushed by our officers, so good detectives, good officers are working it. And then there's the bedrock of policing, which is the foundation of it all. That's our men and women out there on the streets every day with the red and blue lights on, making sure we stop cars and send in the signal that we're there and we're present in our neighborhoods and our city. And then the drones to the upper right-hand corner is a sophisticated tool that you all supported me with. That allows us, when our officers are in pursuit, whether it be foot or car, we can get drones up and provide coverage from above to make sure our officers remain safe. And even situations, we work in conjunction with our canine where we may find them at night through thermo, and then we put the canines in the right area to be successful and help the apprehensions come for those bedrock policing, which is the law enforcement officers in the street. Excellent policing is the goal.
Very good. Questions for Chief Gephardt, Cecilia?
Thanks, Chief. Thanks for everything you do. Question on the mental health. Do we contract out? So our police, when they do need some mental health, is that a contract thing that we, send them somewhere to get that help, or how does that? Just wondering how that works.
Yeah, there's two phases of mental health that's key to keeping our officers safe on the street. And one is we do have a contract with a group called ProTeam Tactical Mental Health. What ProTeam does for us is help to really push our insurance and workers' compensation movement into helping officers with mental health. And one thing that's happened here in the last 12 months is pretty exciting is if our officers have a critical incident, one of the recent ones, we had a pretty bad fatality on Interstate 69 where the officers were exposed to a lot of body parts. We can take them into mental health immediately, and insurance is picking up that initial consultation and any therapy in addition to. So it's usually about 8 sessions to heal an officer for something traumatic related to a line of duty. And that's one thing that's happening. We're starting to see insurance companies moving into more of a mainstream acceptance of mental health of our officers. I believe that an injury, whether it's mental or physical, should be treated the same. There's a good chance if we interact with trauma that we can get our officers back to the street and healthy within a certain amount of time. Us officers with 30, 40 years on, it's harder to peel that onion back and get that trauma out of our head. Then there's the other side of that, Cecilia, where the officer is seen a critical incident. We didn't quite catch it. It's not one of those mainstream ones that come on board. They can then call Pro Team and get into therapy to see someone immediately without any sort of oversight from the command structure. And that's what we budget for, is to get them in as fast as we can and get them healthy as quick as we can. And that's about 150 a session. Usually takes about 7 to 8 sessions to keep them healthy if you're intersecting the trauma. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thanks for the clarification. And then with the Humane Society, is this due, the increase there, is it where we're taking in, animals that are not necessarily from the county, and they're, can you clarify kind of what's going on there with that?
Well, I think this is a tough situation, but there's not another way to do this cheaper than what we're doing it. So we'd have to stand this up on our own and kind of move this in a very expensive play out. I don't understand sometimes how the dogs and cats come from, but I've been down and been meeting with the Humane Society to try to understand that better and see if we can investigate it better. If we can come down on those that would have puppy issues and they take like all 13 puppies into the Humane Society. We went gone down and had conversations about IDing everybody that comes in with an animal. But if an animal is found at 106 in Allisonville Road, or they say it's found at 106 Allisonville Road, there's not much you can do with those situations. And those happen a lot. And I think that the Humane Society's done a lot to get down into Indy and really mitigate what they have going on down there, because we do see dogs and animals coming north, and we know people, all they got to say is, hey, this is where I found it in Hamilton County, and they'll take the animal in. We're working on that. Officers now are armed with scanners that can scan dogs and animals and even take them back to residences without having to go through the Humane Society. So there are things we're working on down there with Rebecca Stevens to kind of mitigate this increase in cost. But I think the answer is going to be someone in our new CSO unit who are going to have the ability to help with some of these outstanding cases where someone brings, 40 cats in. And what that is sometimes that's people in the community running around actually looking for lost cats and bringing them forward and turning them into the Humane Society. We're trying to figure out what that looks like, how we can investigate, how we can help with it. But I can assure you, we're asking the right questions and we're trying to make sure our money's going to a good cause. I believe we still receive a massive benefit at a pretty good price if we were to branch off and handle it ourselves.
Yeah, I'll just double tap that real quick. I mean, Chief is super involved. We get a monthly report from these guys now. We audit, we review it, we make sure that the cats and dogs that are coming in are actually from fishers that we can charge for. The Humane Society does do a phenomenal job, and I believe it's the only no-kill shelter.
It's a no-kill shelter.
So the cost is just more expensive. But our team is very much involved to make sure that we're driving value out of the cost that it does take.
And we're known as a no-kill shelter, which means anybody in the area that wants to kind of I feel bad about my animal, but I don't want to see it get euthanized, will come to this shelter. And that's something we're going to combat.
Thanks for clarifying. And just one last question. So no hiring of new officers for next year then?
No, I put down for 65 officers.
Okay.
So just in general, Cecilia, and everyone on the committee, we are still reviewing the 100 levels of the personnel, which is our most expensive and most valuable asset, of course. There have been requests made. We're still reviewing that internally. We'll come back to the finance committee with our recommendations as to compensation and new hires at this point in time. But we feel confident in everyone's ability to do their jobs, but we are still reviewing the personnel side of things.
I see. Okay. Thanks for clarifying, and thanks, Chief, for everything.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Millie, any questions for Chief?
No, I'm good. I appreciate all you do, Chief.
Thank you, Bill.
The regional task force, so whether they're violent crime, sexual crimes, whatever, do you feel, because I'm sure that's not shrinking in terms of amount of things to do, cost increase on those, or in terms of any kind of equipment or whatever, you know, what's the status on those types of partnerships and how we can support that?
Strong, and I think we already do. We are probably one of the most regional agencies out there, meaning we're involved in a lot of things, but the task forces must tie back into the safety and security of our own city. And we get a lot of bang for our buck out of the task forces that we're involved in. So we're obviously involved in the drug task force. We've been involved in that task force for longer than I've been here, which is 25 years, going on 26. That's a strong relationship with Carmel that we continue to work narcotics related issues in and around Hamilton County. We're involved with obviously our internet crimes against children, which we have a few officers in that task force, but those guys are carrying a 35 caseload per man.
That's the kind of thing I was worried
That's a
about.
heavy task force, but Carmel, Noblesville and the county, they're all in that task force. HSI's in that task force. And then here recently, because of that's a regional task force, I've gone out and pressured Madison County, and we have Greenfield, Madison County, and Anderson PD now in that task force. So I've supplemented manpower to handle the caseload that keeps coming upon us. But it is a world that we're never going to be able to let up on. We're going to have to stay strong with our partnerships. And I'm not asking for any manpower there. I think we're right where we need to be with the other county coming in to the fold. Anderson even brought a digital dog in to our forensic side or digital forensic side of that task force, because there's two sides and two components. There's the groundworking cases, and then there's all the computers and phones that everybody are carrying that we got to break down. And those are multi-agency task forces on both sides of the house that's housed right over here. And then the crime gun initiative task force. Look, we've taken 560 illegal weapons off these city streets, and 64% come back to violent crime in Indianapolis. That's one of the most important task forces we're in for the safety and security of this future. We're 20 minutes from downtown Indy, and I don't know if you guys turn on the TV, there's a shooting every day. So we've got to keep getting after, and that's the bedrock policing of getting those cars, finding illegal activity, and seizing illegal weapons so it doesn't become part of the shootings and the problems. Also, the DNA component and the crime scene forensics is a message of don't come here to commit crimes, think about it. So we want to reach that excellent policing, back up the illegal weapons coming off the street. We'll continue to enjoy the ratings that we get of being one of the safest cities when we're sitting on the edge of not so safe.
So I would just say, like, I would support any increase if we need to with regard to manpower. I know you're gonna talk about personnel at some other time or whatever.
When we're involved in crime guns too, and know as well that when we get involved in some of those task forces, and crime guns is one of them, that we are able to get some of our technology, because we support that task force from here, taken off of our budget, which helped to mitigate our budget too. So we actually receive from cities too.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking for any help with my task forces right now.
Okay, so even personnel, you're good.
I'm good.
Okay. And the last one I had was the flock cameras or the flock system. Do you feel like that's ample right now based on our corridors that are heavily utilized by those coming from all sorts of?
Well, I mean, it's like anybody that get up, more is always better. But I feel like with 350 flock cameras to our south, which is what Indy's running, we're up somewhere around the area of 50 of them in our city. And then Carmel, Noblesville, Westfield, that's more of a massive hit to flock and LPR. And it helps us to solve a lot of crimes. There are probably one or two areas that we're covering down on, but we're using HOAs to assist with those areas. And also when new builds come in, some of the planning directors help me with, hey, want to fit a flock into this build. Even the community centers is going to put a flock up in the parking lot of the community center. And these things are being done I know it's all goes with a greater cost, but it helps us to mitigate asking for 40 cameras. Our slow build is good. I like where it's at. I could say, yes, I want more to everything you're about to ask me.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're in a good, safe location. I think the ways that we've been able to go out and leverage our community to help us has helped that greatly.
Great, thank you.
No questions. Thank you, Chief. Oh, Johnson. I have
No, just one. Perfect.
No, you can skip this time.
What?
Not asking a question.
But one, just quick one, I'm just curious, so it's the Hamilton County Humane Society, so is that, there's no others in the county?
Oh, they all pay.
Everybody pays.
Everybody pays.
Everybody pays.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna increase their charge?
Everybody's goes up now.
Okay.
I get around the chiefs and we
I
all.
figured, I hadn't thought, I didn't realize that.
It goes up all the way around. It takes the whole county to pay for it. So, yeah, I know it's because it's here, you may see it a different way, but it's the same. They all get, I talk with the chiefs regularly and they're all, you know, they know their bills are going up and they all understand it.
I wouldn't have been as excited for it to move here.
Thanks a lot, John.
No, I didn't mind it. Well, but just a quick random thought, like we do the kind of the fines for the nuisance businesses, I mean, completely fine, frequent.
I think that probably the nuisance order is an awesome tool for us to meet with businesses to help mitigate runs and calls for service for our officers. And it's functioning, I think 30% decrease in crimes down on 96th Street. Don't quote me on that, Larry, roughly 30%. It's roughly 30%, but there are businesses we used to go to all the time that we don't go to anymore. We're already meeting with the Humane Society.
No, I
We're
don't mean
already
that, I mean the people that bring 30 kittens and.
I think the risk of doing that, John, is that you'd be promoting folks instead of them bringing to the
Oh,
community
I
side,
see.
they would just be dumping them off on the side of the road, and that cost would still come to Fishers if they're
We
dumping
gotta
them to Fishers.
find, we gotta find good strategic ways to kind of meet with them and ask questions and hold accountability
Yeah.
rather than the nuisance order, probably not designed for that particular, but I like where your head is and I appreciate it.
The issue is cats, to be clear.
I'm not a cat. I don't want to kill
You
them.
targeted Bob Barker. Charge for cats. Cats.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, John.
Next.
Chief.
Johnson.
I'm on.
You are.
Good morning. Thank you guys again for being here for this. This is actually my first budget too. Previously, I was with Water Quality, and now this is the first time having streets, parks, and facilities as well. To point out, kind of looking at our year-to-year increases, we strove to keep a pretty flat budget this year, identifying efficiencies within our current processes. You'll see under capital that there's a significant decrease from the previous year, which kind of sticks out, right? Most of our capital is driven by the sanitary aspects. So those are kind of major projects. The reason for the decrease is that we were able to use our master plan that we developed about 3 years ago that has a 15 to 20-year projection. So throughout those years, we were able to, at the start, do some significant improvements, which allowed a decrease in some of that capital for this year, which then lets us prepare for increases further down the line. So it shows us the plan that we have. Everything else is pretty straightforward and flat line there. Areas of focus. So we work, and I could have 7 slides like Mekhi too, but I decided to keep it to 1. So areas of focus for us, we work closely with the engineering department like we do with all departments too, right? Any new infrastructure that they put in, those new roads, those new roundabouts, as soon as they're completed, they come to us for that maintenance, right? So areas of focus for this group in particular that we wanted to focus on is sidewalk repair and replacement. We have always had that program going on. Through the years, by ordinance, it is technically the homeowner's responsibility to maintain those sidewalks. We all know that that can be a financial constraint on some of those homeowners. And just for the safety of the community and neighborhoods and things like that, we are proactive in doing those repairs. I apologize for kind of the cluttered screen there, but if you see on the left with all the red markings there, and then next to it, kind of those, the numbers that are listed there, that is our sidewalks. We have crews that go out in conjunction with getting those phone calls that we get of possible trip hazards, our C-click fix or whatever the name is now for that kind of program, and us actively going out and utilizing our GIS equipment. We're able to put in those points and have those exact locations within our GIS. So we're able to show where it is on this map and get a total. So if you can see, it's really hard to see there. Saw cuts not repaired, we're over 20,000, okay, within the city. Those are saw cuts, not panel replacements. Panel replacements, we're looking at about pushing 8,000. Okay, so you can see that there are a significant amount. Year to date, and actually these numbers have changed since just when I put this slide up, because I have it right here as well. Okay, that's a real rolling number. Year to date, we've done, or not year to date, but overall through the program, it's been a little over 8,000 saw cuts and 6,000 panel replacements. Okay, we have a dedicated concrete staff as well doing these. But a little change in our focus this year, as compared to what we've done in the past with sidewalks. We used to go in conjunction with the engineering department when they would do resurfacing, and then go in and do sidewalk repairs at that time. Looking at our data and pulling all that, some of those neighborhoods, yes, the roads were in need of repair, but not necessarily were the sidewalks the biggest bang for our buck at that time. So we have now gone strictly focusing on the sidewalk situation, separate from the road resurfacing packages. In doing so, last year we did a little over 1,100 saw cuts repairs. We're currently over 1,300 to date. Just last week, for the first time, we did over 100 in a week. So utilizing the current crews we have, big thank you to Tabitha and her crew for keeping our equipment up and running, which is significant. There is a portion of that capital budget for the purchase of a new grinder as well, which would just be another tool for our toolbox, and allows us then to also continue to do these repairs and grindings throughout the year. It's not limited by temperature as well. So prioritizing those sidewalks and the repairs. Next is streets and trail condition assessment. So kind of piggybacking, Tim kind of set me up at the end there. I don't think he realized it for that. So condition assessment for these roads. We are, I'm sure some of you are familiar with the PASER rating system and the condition assessment for roads that we use for the resurfacing packages. The map that is on the right there, which is kind of the Easter egg colors you can see there, we are using a program called Violytics. It's an AI software. With doing PASER ratings in the past, there is a set formula to determine the condition of roads, but there is still that human element to it, right? So some opinion can creep into there in terms of what that condition looks like. This program that we have used takes photos every few feet and takes that condition assessment that is built by the PASER rating program within there. And you can see we have captured the whole street system within the city this year. And really all it is a camera that's on the front of the truck. So while we're doing actual work, we're also capturing those images, which then based on those ratings, we can sit and meet with the engineering department and determine where we can get the biggest bang for our buck in terms of repairs or resurfacing. What it also does is drives our repairs as well, makes us better informed, and helps us with planning in the future. Because just because a road condition can have a higher score, there are segments within that road that could use that kind of repair, not just a patch, but it could be full depth repairs, things like that, that then help drive our repair program. So being more proactive, we have a big focus on preventative maintenance within our group now as well. Our team does an excellent job of getting a project, attacking that project and completing that project, right? We need, and we are working and developing on being more proactive and bringing in that preventative maintenance. We just added to this software, we just did our trails as well. Ran it through the same AI structure and it gives us our trail conditions. Just yesterday, we completed all our parking lots in parks as well. So we're able to gather that data and use that to help drive us on our repair schedules. Next, we go to water quality side, inflow and infiltration, inspections and repairs. It's an ongoing program that we have. We have a CCTV truck, so camera that we can use doing inspections of our sanitary system, Again, this is all in the preventative maintenance aspects. In anything, emergency repairs, right? Especially emergency with sanitary sewer, that's a bad day. Being proactive and having that maintenance plan, we're able to identify areas of inflow and infiltration, which allows us to repair that pipe ahead of time. Typically, an emergency repair is 3 times the cost of us doing preventative maintenance. Inflow and infiltration too is also quote unquote clean water entering the system, which just increases the flow and then can change if we allow that just to continue, flow rates increase and we're treating water that doesn't need to be treated at the treatment plant, which then can push to expansions that are unnecessary. So a tighter system, lower flow, shortens the need of having to expand the wastewater treatment plant. Lift station improvements are continuous as well. We have 53 lift stations within the city here. We continue to program of doing panel upgrades, replacements, valves, pumps, those kind of things in order to keep our system up and running. We use an asset management system with all things that we do to collect the age, condition, critical assessment, useful life, and replacement values for that. That helps dictate our schedule along with the master plan. Odor control I put up there because that's one big item that I know everybody is concerned with. We implemented, it might be close to 2 years now, it feels like yesterday, an odor control program that first focused on relieving 106th Cumberland area, which everybody knows that was a pretty odorous area, and I'd like to say that it was pretty successful in what we've implemented. To date, since we did that, I think I might have received maybe 1 complaint when we used to average about 15 to 20 a week. And I'm sure John used to get those as well, right? So continuing with that is the program that we have and the process that we have. It's a chemical treatment. It's a calcium nitrate. I won't get into the weeds on it and get nerdy with it. But it's a feed up and upstream to treat it downstream. So we used to have issues at 116th Street and Brook School Road at that lift station as well. By setting up those measures upstream of that location, we have helped treat the odor at those. So we're actively still attacking those odor issues within the city, knowing, again, our customers are usually right around homes or near stoplights when people are sitting there, right? So, and so actively going with the odor control. Happy to answer any questions.
I will add one in there, didn't even make the list for 2026, but it's important. It's really just continuing what they do as far as operational excellence goes, but the community center is coming online in November, right? So they'll be taking on additional acreage. Jonathan's got a great landscaping team. You guys have noticed, you guys made a significant impact or investment rather in our landscaping efforts this past year with our medians and our roundabouts. I think when you guys get to the community center, you'll feel that same kind of aesthetic, pleasing landscaping effort, but his team will take on additional acreage yet again going into 26 as well. But
Cecilia, have any questions for Jonathan?
Yeah, no, well, just a few things. Thanks for everything you do with the medians. I've noticed that they look great. I think that was a good decision, focusing on that. We have had some questions, John, Delucia and I, on some of the neighborhoods where there might be people living there who use wheelchairs with buckling sidewalks and things like that. So thank you for kind of clarifying. John and I didn't know there's certain neighborhoods where they are in that lineup of triaging and whether they're in queue for resurfacing. So didn't know, maybe you could provide us with that,
Sure.
because we have most recently just had like some elderly residents or people in wheelchairs that they're saying that the sidewalks are really buckled and all that. And I can't recall exactly what neighborhoods they are right now, but we were just trying to kind of get a sense of like where they were in the in the queue and all that. So,
Sure. Yeah, no, I'd be happy to provide a list for you.
I don't think I have any other questions. Thanks for everything you do.
Bill, do you have questions for Jonathan?
I just have one, Jonathan, and I appreciate all that you do as well. Mine is specific to my district. There's a trail that was on Eller Road that was repaved, and I appreciate that very much. The residents appreciate that very much. But there's a storm drain along that trail that is unsafe, and I emailed Carrie about getting a railing put up, and she mentioned that you're in the process of getting some quotes for that railing. And I just wanted to see what the status of it is, and is there hope that we can get that in yet this construction season?
Yeah, good question. So, yeah, so after receiving your message there, we did review that area. And with that storm sewer that is there is quite a drop off. I did request for 3 quotes. I've received 1. I'm waiting back on 2. But based on what our current available budget is and what these quotes come back, I'd like to get that in, yes, by the end of construction season.
Is there anything you can do temporarily to highlight that hazard? I really, it's easy for a bicyclist.
Sure. Right. Temporarily, we'd have to look at it. Again, besides putting up barricades, it would just be something that people can, tumble through, on the side there too.
Right.
But I can talk to staff and see what's available.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then in that same vicinity at the intersection of 106th and Eller, is there any way to get a crosswalk, the piano crosswalk painted lines from trail to trail?
Yeah, good question there too. So I've been talking with the engineering department. Obviously, the easy button would be to put in some piano keys or crosswalks there, but what the issue is the approach there isn't ADA compliant for a crosswalk. So that would take some intersection improvements there before we can strike.
So
put that in.
I got you. Once you go down that road, you trip the ADA compliant.
Correct.
I got it. Okay. I appreciate that.
But it is on the engineering schedule.
It is on the engineering schedule. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And the homeowners are just very excited about that trail being repaved. They use it a lot.
That's great.
Thank you.
Well, and some of these, thanks what you did, and we can take some of these offline perhaps, but yet sidewalks, man. Well, like how long should a sidewalk last, generally speaking? Any idea?
Yeah, so sidewalks, again, with concrete, it can be 50 years, right? But the big issue with these toe kicks and things like that, it's typically 2 things. It's street trees and the roots, popping panels. And then it is utilities that come in the area. So any boring connections, repairs that they make there, those sidewalk pedals end up settling. So that's the 2 big triggers for those kind of things.
Yeah, because I can tell you those neighborhoods too, by the way.
Okay.
But and I wonder, we don't have a lot of new development coming on, but if there's a way to, they do those, like to have some kind of clawback. Hey, man, if it's not 20 years,
sure,
we're coming back to you. Because one neighborhood in particular, the developer, I think, did a poor job, and the developer chose all these trees, and these trees are just destroying the sidewalks.
Right.
It's like,
I think that within planning and zoning now, the requirement for street trees is no longer there, which is helpful for us on the maintenance side, obviously. So going forward, that should help reduce the impact of those sidewalks.
all right. And if I want to repair my sidewalk that I'm responsible, is that a private contract or is that the city or what's the benefit?
No, so if it's a homeowner doing it, it would be on them. It would be a private.
But who would do it?
It could either, that's a good question. So I think it would require a right-of-way permit as well,
Yeah,
so that it could just be inspected at the end, but it would be third party typically.
Yeah. maybe come up with like a list of preferred people, just because I think some people are willing to do it. I've learned a lot about this, right? So homeowner, it's not the HOA, it's not the city.
Right.
I know some have used maybe that neighborhood vibrancy grant if they want to do it, which I think makes a lot of sense. But yeah, your point starts and ends with us. So,
Yep,
but
exactly.
thanks what you're doing. I think, do a nice
We're,
job.
we're out there trying to get.
Because here's the thing, think about it, right? 30 years ago, man, so we got sidewalks coming. And now that whole rapid growth thing, and especially some of the pre-financial crisis, lower end developers, I mean, they're gonna be. Sure. All right, thank you.
Bob, you have questions?
It's fantastic work with sidewalk repair, and we've seen just residents are really responding well in my own neighborhoods.
Great.
Fantastic, so good job. That's all I've got.
Great.
Yeah.
Jonathan, Mike, Webb, first of all, thank you. You got 106 in Cumberland. I don't get any emails or calls or comments, so thank you for that.
That's good.
We've come a tremendously long way from where it was 2 years ago. I think it's just incredible. Which leads to kind of my next question. A few years back, we acquired Aegis Utilities and all that infrastructure and all that. Presume you've been able to digest all that, and is any other CapEx that's required to kind of keep that in line, or is everything good there?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So that's what was the major driver of our master plan that we did develop, right, was incorporating all those assets and that system there. So with our incorporating all that into our preventative maintenance schedule, that's pushed a lot of those needs and repairs. But that allowed that to plan that out. So a few maybe capacity things, but that's just related to growth, right? So, but no, we're sitting pretty good right now. With that. Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Moving over to public health. Monica.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. So first, you'll notice that the numbers that we're dealing with here are much lower than the other ones that you've been looking at. Second, I'll just make a mention, and I know I've talked to you guys before about Health First Indiana, which is state funding for public health. We've been experiencing a bit of whiplash in the public health field related to funding from a number of different levels, both from the federal and the state level. That impacts you guys here, number one, in the services that we can provide and the money that we have available to work with. But number two, you guys do, as part of our total budget package, approve the Health First Indiana budget as well as the local operating fund budget that we use for the health fund. So I did break it down here as far as what percentage of the supplies and professional services are coming from the operating fund versus the HFI fund for operating. So you can see that we have basically moved it all under the local operating fund money. What we experienced this year, or what we're about to experience for 2026, is a 73% decrease from that HFI funding that comes from the state. So it was a significant increase 2 years ago. We were able to expand programs, do a lot of things a little bit differently, but that funding has been cut back significantly. The other thing that's been cut back is a lot of the federal grants that we were using. We had a federal grant of about $500,000 to support immunization activities. That was cut back, and in fact, some of it was clawed back as part of the federal changes. We have been looking at this since the beginning of 2025. As soon as the governor's budget was released, we had an inkling that we were going to face some cuts to the Health First Indiana Fund. So we did a pretty deep dive into everything that we were doing. We've been in consultation with Elliot the entire time. I think he's tired of looking at our budget. as we identified kind of how are we gonna, whether what we thought at the time was gonna be a 33% cut and how are we gonna maintain services that you guys have come to expect? How are we gonna be able to continue to do the things that we want to be able to do for our community to keep everyone as healthy as possible and provide valuable services to our residents while facing these type of cuts. And frankly, it's been one hit after the other all year. So we made decisions pretty early. We had a position that was vacated and we did not backfill that position. So anytime we were able to hit the relatively easy button to weather that storm, we did. We then looked at our kind of plans. We've been tightening things up, being very strategic about what things we're focusing on, things that have a high impact and a high value, and how we approach those. We've been looking at efficiencies. The other thing that we did this year to kind of set us up for what hopefully will become a more sustainable picture going forward is we changed our clinical billing model. So we're tackling billing insurance companies ourselves instead of outsourcing that. We're adding additional services that we can potentially recover some of the fees for providing those services through insurance companies and things when it comes to clinical services. So we continue to look at ways to kind of innovate the practice of public health when it comes to revenue, which is a difficult area for us, but one which, public health departments, different from, other public safety departments, have been pretty dependent on grants and these up and down funding cycles. So we're trying to do what we can, what's within our power to at least even that out. So it's not as much of a kind of a roller coaster ride. So I think you all have my book of an annual report that goes into the depth of the variety of services that we are providing to residents and hope to continue providing. Our focus for this year, or for next year, is really to continue to maintain the areas of programming that we've had. And continue to improve as part of the ongoing quality improvement process that we do for everything. With those programming and services, we want to continue to expand our clinical service offerings and health education offerings. We did bring on a new health educator at the very beginning of this year, so she's been continuing to develop her repertoire of offerings with specific focus on older adults, different kinds of educational offerings for older adults. We've heard that in the community. I think it's come up in a number of different groups as well, with that being a need, and we've seen good uptake for that, as well as prioritizing kind of young adults, where we see people, we want to make sure people are set up for success as they get older, to get more on the preventative side. Also just looking to optimize efficiency and strategy, again, I think I mentioned this, just to make sure that we're as effective as we can be with the limited amount of funding that we have. And then continue to work towards accreditation readiness. Accreditation in public health is relatively new. I think I've spoken about it before. There are a couple of key cornerstones that we have to complete before we can apply. We're hoping that we can submit our intent to apply by the end of next year. We're nearing the end of the community health assessment process. We'll be developing a community health improvement plan, a strategic plan out of that. Those will be required to apply for accreditation. We're continuing to work on the rest of those pieces and just rolling them into our normal operations. So most of them are just best practice, making sure we can document that we're doing the best practice, and we believe that we really are. A couple of highlights here. A lot of you know about our fall prevention program, which has been really popular among seniors. It's a collaborative effort with the fire department that we do a number of different services, including in-home assessments for trip hazards and things like that. Appreciate the public works investment because the sidewalks can be a trip hazard as well. And one interesting study, and you see the return on investment here for fall prevention. There was an interesting study commissioned by the state to IU Fairbanks School of Public Health on the return of investment of some of these Health First Indiana focus areas. They only were able to complete 3 focus areas before the contract was cut at the beginning of this year. But one of those areas was fall prevention, and they were able to provide us with their formula for that program. And that's where we get our specific return on investment here that you see here. And this is only for the services that we provided in 2024. We already are predicting just from our 2024 services that work is a downstream effect of over $1 million, which is a 32 to 35 times value. So for every dollar that we're spending on that program, we're getting $32 to $35 back. So just wanted to speak to the importance of doing this preventative work as limited as the funding situation is. And again, really working towards sustainability to the best of our abilities on this.
So just as a reminder, I think we spoke to it last week in our finance committee meeting. A portion of the general fund budget we'll be recommending and bringing forward to city council does go towards the health department. In previous years, obviously, they've been self-sufficient in their different funding streams, but with the, Monica said the blow after blow, they've taken the value that Monica and her team provides to the community is not something we're willing to cut a program over. So I hope you guys consider that, because Monica's team just does incredible work for our community. So appreciate the consideration as we bring that forward in September for you guys.
And before I take questions, I do want to just thank everyone here greatly, because we are really, of all health departments in the state, we are in the best position. And that's thanks to you guys and your ongoing support. And, for our residents for supporting what we do, but really for you guys to putting us in action and continuing to support that work. So thank you very much. And I am happy to take any questions.
Sure. Cecilia, have any questions for Monica?
Thank you, Monica, for everything you're doing. So basically for insurance reimbursement, it would include I know it's include immunizations, but any other kind of clinical services, what other things do we get reimbursed for, I guess, or could potentially?
So immunizations are the big one, because that's the bulk of the clinical services we've been providing, but we've been adding on clinical services. Some of them are insurance reimbursable, some of them are pay out of pocket. So we added on travel vaccines, for example. So people that were traveling to exotic locations, we do travel consults. Those include vaccines. They are not always reimbursable by insurance. So those are typically pay out of pocket. We've added services for STI screening, sexually transmitted infection screening, including clinical visits with a provider, which would be me. So those can be reimbursable by insurance. We're getting ready to add on latent TB infection treatment, which is something that we're required to case manage anyway as a health department. So if we can have an easier access point to just get that done, it decreases our caseload for our nurses who have to scramble to find a place to get that treatment done. We're adding titers, which would be for folks going to nursing school or medical school, they're required to show proof of immunity to measles and other kinds of infections. So we can easily provide those blood screens for that. As the community center opens, we're looking to provide glucose and cholesterol screenings, possibly consultations or health coaching, different things like that that could be reimbursable by insurance. All of that, I think, will be partly dependent on what our community health improvement plan shows. Partly, we're just adding these services anyway and seeing how popular they are. Really looking forward to the increased foot traffic that we expect to see at the community center and the interest and focus on people's health while they're easily coming to us. And again, open to other ideas. We really want to continue to focus on preventative screening activities. We're not looking to get into primary care by any means, but any kind of ease of access, just get people in and screened We do pregnancy testing as well, and that would involve coordination of services for folks if they needed to find a provider. But that's the kind of stuff that we're looking to continue to expand.
Okay, and then just one last question. So with us trying to get this accreditation, the community health improvement plan, are we basically kind of also looking to see what kind of health condition or rating as a community we have? Like, are we going to be able to know where we are and compared to other communities or other states with how healthy our community is? Like, is that something that through your work we're able to kind of understand where we all stand in terms of our health as a community?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And that's what the community health assessment tells us, which is, again, really nearing completion. But I can tell you right now, we're the healthiest community in the state. And we're one of the healthiest communities in the country. We've also done some benchmarking against like communities, so similar suburban communities. And just from a benchmarking standpoint, we're not the best in everything, but we're pretty high up on the scale in most things. So you'll see that come out in the community health assessment, but we've presented snippets of that information in different venues, including to the health board. So I can confidently say that we're sitting pretty well when it comes to the health of our community. That of course means, it doesn't mean there aren't places that we can go and improvements that we want to continue to make. You're intersecting with residents that certainly could use some additional help. All of these investments in infrastructure and trails and building a culture of health will certainly help to keep us in that top tier of healthy communities. Making sure we're getting education to the kids to start them on that path early. All of those things are important, but we are, I can confidently say, the healthiest community in the state.
Awesome. Great news. Thank you for all your work. Appreciate it.
Bill had to step off instead of working with the contractor to remodel his house, so he's not on anymore. So, John, you have any questions for?
Yeah, just real quick. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate what you're doing. Full disclosure, I wasn't on the council. I was a little skeptical when this was done. I really thought, but I've been blown away by the result.
We had a few skeptics.
Yeah. But, and going through the city government academy just really has opened my eyes. So just, I want to just correct one thing on your screen. I think ROI, and John can correct me, he's the accountant. So that's like 3,100% ROI. So ROI's, in percentages. So I did the math right. So that's staggering. So yeah, thanks for doing what you did.
That's good at math to be an engineer.
I had to use ChatGPT just to double check. No, thank you. Yeah, great.
Monica, just a great job. I know you're facing a lot of stuff right now, so keep doing the good work. We support you. So,
The only thing I'll make it quick, certainly, we're going to be drawing from the general fund to facilitate the operation of the health department, and certainly with wholehearted support. We've stood by you and also seen what you've actually taken a lot of blows early on with the health department as well. So I appreciate everything you've done. Just very visible things you see in the community. The rating of the restaurants that are out there, it's a real, it gives our residents and our visitors confidence that they're coming into a restaurant that's been looked at. These kind of things. And plus, again, bring this up one more time. I brought up the council meeting. We're doing this at a lower tax rate than the county is. So we're giving more value and less dollars than anybody else in the county. So I'm sure the communities around us are very envious that we're able to do this. It also comes back to your leadership. So thank you.
Perfect.
They are envious, by the way.
Thank you, Monica. We're getting close to the end, I promise. Appreciate you guys. We'll flip over. This one's gonna look a little different, but we'll talk about the community center. And so Mike is here and he's excited to open the doors here in the next, 60 days or so, right? So over to you, Mike.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you to the city council for making this happen. This is quite a thing to see this come together. Getting close to being open. I'm going to start on the right-hand side of my slide there, the progress for 2025, give you an idea of where we're currently at, what we've done in the last couple of months. But I think the number one question is how are memberships coming? and our membership units are right on track. We've seen a lot of excitement in our community for people to sign up as what we call charter members. And we currently have a little over 1,000. This number was from Monday, so it's 1,030 units. I'm sure that we're up and over that as of today. I didn't have a chance to get the new number this morning. That translates into 3,196 individuals. So a lot of excitement. We're rolling. We've got a full-time staff team that's been hired. And that's been fun to put together. Very talented team. Great energy there. Everyone's really looking very excited to open the community center. Our grand opening, if you haven't heard, is November 1st. We are doing a soft opening in October 20th through the 31st. Will be 2 weeks of soft opening just for our charter members. And we are right now doing a lot of hiring for our part-time staff team. We expect to hire, when fully staffed, approximately about 175 part-time staff positions. So that's coming together. We're hiring as we speak. So building out the team. So areas of focus in 2026, obviously membership is what pays the bills. And we're going to continue to push membership. We'll have some active promotions throughout the year. We will build that through some other means such as corporate memberships. We'll be launching that even before the end of this year. We'll also be, one of the other big questions that we get is, will we be offering insurance-based memberships such as Silver Sneakers? And the answer to that is we're working on it as we speak and feel very positive that that's going to come about by the time that we open. Dog Park will be opening, what we're saying is late spring 2026. A little bit of delay in construction, so that delayed the planting of grass. You got to have good, strong turf for dogs to run around. So we wanted to make sure it was going to be an excellent experience and decided let's just hold off on that and open it with excellence late spring 2026. And then, of course, we're going to be expanding a lot of programs after we open this year, moving into next year in all of our different areas of family programs, really emphasizing seniors, adaptive programs for those with disabilities, aquatics. We really feel excited with the swim lesson program that we're going to be offering. It's going to be, I would say, the top in our community for where people can go. Our emphasis is going to be on the real little ones to teach them how to swim. Obviously, we'll have some programs for older adults and families as well. Our fitness and sports programs will be emphasizing some growth in those areas too. Pickleball leagues, volleyball leagues, all of that. So a lot of momentum going into 2026 as far as our numbers go. You can see our budget. It's a roll-up budget. What we're saying is a recommended budget. We've been really taking a deep dive these last couple of weeks to refine what we have originally put in our budget software. And one thing, if you don't know, you can see camp revenue up at the top. We have realigned where all of the city camps now are coming underneath the community center. So not only our camp that we were planning on, but camps from around Fishers, from around the community, from Parks is moving over to the community center. So a little over 800,000 there. Of course, our membership revenue, you can see where we're going to end there. Our total revenue, a little over 4.7 million. And then all the expenses that come with running a big operation such as the community center. You can see our net total would be a loss of 340,000. However, we are forecasting a rollover at the end of this year from our forecast of 2025 of unused funds. And those primarily come from our savings in delaying a lot of our full-time hires this year. So we've pushed those off and didn't hire those folks until we felt it was the right time, that they had meaningful work to do. So that number, that rollover, is made up of that as well as some excess in membership and joining fees. So when you factor that in, for our very first year, 2026, we're forecasting to actually be self-sufficient and actually have a surplus of $264,000. So very excited, a lot of momentum. All of you, of course, will be invited to our grand opening, November. And I'll take any questions at this point that the council might have for us.
So you have any questions?
Oh, well, first of all, I just want to thank Mike. He recently hosted the Fishers Advisory Committee on Disability members and some of the subcommittee groups, the Deaf and Hard of Hearing group that we have. And we took a tour and provided some recommendations in terms of equipment and things for the center. And my question was, Mike, I don't know if you had a time to go back and kind of review what was suggested or recommended as a help to ensure that, you know, we're inclusive and we have a, you know, ability to accommodate our folks with disabilities. Does your budget include, you know, some of the, at least some, you know, the things that we talked about?
The answer to that would be yes. We have looked at a lot of the suggestions that the committee pointed out on our tour, and we're following up with Hagerman Construction on some of those, as well as like for the indoor playground, working with the manufacturer of that to ensure that those changes are done. We're also looking at, I think one of the suggestions, and I forget the name of it, was a special wheelchair that would allow us to get people that are in wheelchairs, if we were to have a power outage, how to get them downstairs. We are looking into purchasing those. We've already got in 2 of our what we would call a water wheelchair, so we've got those. So yeah, to answer your question, we've got that list and we are presently working on that.
Wonderful. We really, really appreciate it. It's exciting to know that we can work in partnership, and please let us know what else we can do to support you, and thank you for all you do.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any questions?
No, I mean, thanks, Mike. Just out of curiosity, is there data to suggest, like, what is the typical radius that this will draw from? I'm just curious. You may not know.
I'll give an answer, but I'll have Jake jump in as well. He probably has more definitive number than I do, but I would say within a 5 to 10 mile radius would be probably where most of our members would come from. And the numbers we have so far are really showing it's mostly on the east side of Fishers that are coming to the center and joining right now. I don't know if you would.
Yeah, Mike said it well. So we very intentionally picked this location, and if you kind of look at a large map of Fishers, it literally is the bullseye, right? And so it's a statistically 10-minute drive is important. People don't want to drive more than 10 minutes anywhere. And it really is a 10-minute drive from any corner in Fishers that you can imagine. It's not the most convenient location if you live outside of Fishers, but our mission is our community. And so we're really excited about it being a close drive for all of our residents. Early data is suggesting that it really is kind of this east side of Fishers that's been kind of starved for these kind of amenities. And I have had to drive upwards of 20 minutes to get to the west side where there are some other options. So I think the last time I got an update, it was somewhere around 90% of our charter members right now are kind of east of the community center.
Yeah, no, it's great. No, thank you. So,
Any others?
I was opposed to this too when I was alive. I've never been accused of right, but I'm trainable. I also thought Ricky Williams was a better pick than Ezra James.
I would stop while you're at that.
Last one, I wasn't convinced Caitlin Clark would.
Anything else, John?
No. That's speculative.
All right, Todd.
You know the public can review this before. No, thanks for the tour the other day. My wife and I enjoyed it. It's a dream come true. So thank you for all that you're doing. I'm just excited. I've asked all my questions and seen everything, so I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes folks take a look at what we're doing here and say you're competing with, you know, other venues, as in like the Y, for example. And I think what we're going to see is the Y's not going to suffer one bit. Actually, it may become more efficient for folks to enjoy that experience, let alone folks that want to be part of the community center. So I'm excited about this. It's just something we've imagined and thought about over the years. It's nice to see it come together, but not only that, have you folks that are involved in it that actually know how to do this. And so it's really great to have you guys part of this. And Mike, thank you. So welcome.
In spite of the opposition.
Yeah.
That was pre-Jake and Mike.
Yeah, nice to know we voted before he came on the council. Might have a little more trouble.
All right, Mike, Jake, thank you guys. Last but certainly not least is Fleet with Tabitha Miller. I want to share with you the process.
The first one here and the last one.
Yeah. She really runs a budget process kind of in parallel to what Lisa and I do with all departments. So she meets with everyone early and often to talk about what they think they want and or need. There's that natural kind of operator versus maintainer friction, which is actually healthy. So I go back and forth to determine, well, hey, you actually, you may need this or you may not need this, or you may love this truck, but from a financial standpoint, it's a dog and it's cost us a lot of money. So they go back and forth. The number that she's going to present to you today was probably double, if not triple, when that first meeting occurs. And so she really narrows it down to what we absolutely need. Stuff's very, very expensive, but Tabitha's doing a great job for us. So with that, Tabitha.
Elliott. Good morning, everyone. This year's budget is up a little over last year's, actually the last several years, due to increases in the cost of everything. We did dial it back. I think the first pass was probably about $7 million when people thought they were being realistic. But there's always a need, and rightfully so. We just can't supply everything. One of the things we have done recently is spread some of our larger purchases over a couple years budget, just so we can actually not suffer on the years we do purchase. So for instance, the third payment of that ladder is a $3 million or $2 million purchase. Sorry, the next one we buy will probably be $3 million. This entire budget is all replacement items this year. There is no additions. So we try to keep them to replacement only to try to control the growth of the department. As you can see, we have 1,100 assets that we maintain. And if we had to replace them all today, it would be around the $68 million mark. So requesting, 3.5 is a pretty low dollar amount if you're comparing it to the overall amount. Let's see, with the added lane miles with the recent acquisition out in the east side of town, we may be struggling a little bit with some of our snow removal, but DPW is doing a great job rearranging their routes to hopefully accommodate for that without growth of the fleet. The police department has done the same. We are currently rearranging their routes because of the growth, and they did not request any additional vehicles this year for that. Is
The ladder payment, real quick, before we open for questions. Receipt of that ladder.
is scheduled for mid next year.
Yeah.
It's been pushed back a couple of times. It was originally about this time. They're 3 years out, and upcoming is our, probably next year we'll present an engine, which is currently 3 years out as well.
Yeah, so the fire assets are taking a long time for the builds. Police, there was just kind of a shortage for a period of time. We're kind of working our way
We're
through
down
that, right?
to, from acquisition to end, about 12 months, maybe 11, put them in service, so that's dropped quite a bit.
So you have any questions for Tabitha?
Well, I just had a question. So, you know how sometimes when you're buying a vehicle, a private vehicle, you can trade it in. Or do we trade some of these, vehicles, whatnot, and then we get like percentage back? Like, how does it work? I'm just wanting to know, where do the old vehicles go as we replace them? Do we trade them in for a little bit of value towards a new purchase?
Yes, we absolutely do. I would say we have a small percentage of untradeable assets. But as a general, yes, we do trade them in as a discount, just like you would with your own vehicle, off of the purchase price. That is a expense that has gone up lately due all of our acquisitions. We used to get a large government concession for vehicles and equipment purchase. They're all but non-existent now. So the costs have gone up, so we're relying heavily upon trade values, which have also gone up, thank goodness, to make up the difference in price increases that come out of nowhere.
I'll tell you in general, our strategy is that we really run our vehicles hard and almost into the ground. So we do get trade value out of them, but it's not nearly as much as you might anticipate. Our police vehicle, we're getting maybe 2,500 or so on average out of them. That's just because we run these vehicles hard, where other municipalities may rotate them out more frequently, but we feel from a financial standpoint, because we have an internal fleet department, we can keep these things running, and ultimately it's less expensive than if we were to rotate them out more frequently.
It also helps with other departments because most of the police assets, as they retire out, they either become a pool or they go to other departments like permitting and inspections or planning and zoning, something along those lines that a little less of a frontline vehicle. It helps spread the cost out.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions. Thanks for everything you do, Tabitha.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha. I've always thought police cars and fire trucks were good. But I know that's a huge job, so thanks for doing it so well.
What do you got back?
So I like ladder, I was gonna ask about when that was gonna arrive and what the need was, if we needed, so we just need one ladder, is that right? Is that that one? Or
Currently,
That's
that in our
replacement, so
replacement.
replacement, so it's not, we don't need an additional, we don't foresee
Yes, sir.
necessarily, okay.
No, not
And then police replacements. Is that keeping up with the growth? I know we're hiring officers and so the growth of our community and is it?
Correct, it is. Every time we've hired a new officer or added to the force, we've added there as well. So this year, we're not contemplating that. So our average frontline police vehicle is what year?
Oh, how old? They're currently 5.8.
So for all the operational ones, we have a huge reserve fleet for police as well. And so I guess for peace of mind, our police department, every single man or woman in that force has been 100% operationally effective because of our fleet department. There's never been a scenario where a police officer hasn't been able to do their job because they haven't been able to hop into a police vehicle. So we do rotate from frontline to reserve and reserve to, yeah, exactly.
And then with regard to expanding further out east with plowing and everything, we don't see any issue. I mean, there seems to be maybe a little strain there, but
A little, but I
maybe
think
look
we're
at this
gonna,
winter and see how it goes.
Exactly. It'll be a bit of a study and analysis this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have like a public works location right out there by Flat Fork, right?
Correct.
That's where I
Yes.
picked up a plow before.
Yeah, that's where they stage vehicles and salt for the east side of
We have a
town.
physical, we got a place out there. So
Yes, yes, we would be struggling a lot if we did not have that.
Jeff, I want to certainly say thank you. I mean, when I was in grade school, high school, and college, I actually repaired boilers to get myself through school and know what it's like to work on things and keep them maintained, and keep them functional. And you obviously have a whole array of things you have to keep track of, from weed whackers to fire engines.
Absolutely.
And do an outstanding job. I mean, the equipment's up there, is always functioning. I know we're expanding lifetime of the vehicle, and that requires more love and attention on your team's part. So really appreciate everything you do, because I mean, you're doing a hell of a job here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tabitha. So John, gentlemen, Cecilia, that is all we have for you today. Happy to take any questions or comments throughout the next coming days or weeks, and we'll plan on bringing
more information to you guys on September 10th, sir.
Anything else, folks? So you're good?
I'm good. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
All right, we will, take a motion to adjourn. Motion second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Second.
We are
Aye.
adjourned. Thank you all very much for your time this morning. Really appreciate you